Hello fellow modelers, Bruce here. Well, if you think back a few videos to that box of broken Varney railroad cars, you know that one of the things I did was take the tank off of the broken deck of that Varney tank car. It was missing its cap for the dome. I took the ladders off, these were brass, straightened them out, so I envision using them again. Needs a good washing, so I'll be taking a fairly soft toothbrush and some warm water with dish detergent and giving it a good scrubby dub. Playing around with making a new cap for that dome. You might recognize this. It's one of those seals that comes on cardboard cartons of everything from milk creamer, orange juice, you name it. This kind has some facets in it, and I've been working on filing it down to size and painting it black. It's got a little bit of an overlap yet. I might just leave it that way. Painted it black. Anyway, you get the idea. It would be centered on there, something like that. Probably put a vent in it. And then I said I would probably mount it on a flat car. So let's just take a look at that for a minute. Looking at my stack of stuff, I have an Athearn Blue Box New York Central 40-foot flat, and it's one of their recent kits actually, because it's made in China. Previous ones were made in the US, and it's a typical shake-the-box kit. It assembles very quickly. This is the couplers and the trucks and the wheels. And this is the weight for under the car, the decking, and the understructure that includes a separate casting for the brake details. So I should be able to get that together very quickly and weather the deck to look a little more weather beaten, and this will fit nicely on the 40-foot. You can see it's rocking, and the reason that it's rocking is although it has these supports that would normally make it not rock, this protrusion and that protrusion stick down further. So what I'm going to do is weather up the right size piece of strip wood, and I think 3/32 by 1/8 will do the job. But just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about doing is taking that piece of strip wood. This is not the right thickness yet, but it is the right width. And gluing that onto the base somewhat like that, which will raise it high enough that these will not hit the deck and wobble. So that's kind of the overall plan. Maybe add some other details to the deck around that car, and it'll be ready to ride the rails. So follow along the video, and I think you'll see that all come together. All right, talk to you again soon. Okay, been working on just cleaning up a tiny little bit of flash on these castings, and you know there were two of them. One slots into the other, and you just have to make sure you don't put it in upside down. You want nothing to protrude on this side because it's going to go and lay flat against that weight. If you put it in upside down, some of the brake equipment is going to be protruding, so just be careful of that. And as is typical of the shake-the-box kits, no glue is going to be necessary. When I put the two screws in to hold the trucks in place, that's going to clamp this down and hold everything together. So yeah, this will be together shortly. Then I'll weather the deck and then start putting the tank car on it. Follow along. Okay, the basic Athearn Blue Box flat car is now put together. I've put metal wheels into the trucks. Both the side frames and the sides of the wheels have been weathered in the method that I've shown. And now I am going to weather the deck a bit. And then at that point, I'm ready to start putting the Varney tank onto the flat car. All right, follow along. Well, the deck is about almost 3/4 weathered at this point. I can do some final touches after I put the tank car in place, but I wanted to get under the tank good. Primarily, I've been using the low Cornell soft pastels that I've talked about several times before, and primarily the black and the darkest of the browns to give some variation in the color, and just a little bit of that eyeshadow that I picked up in the dollar store that I think I've showed you earlier. Okay, and yeah, I think it's going to be okay. Better than the uniform brown paint that was on there to begin with. All right, I'm going to finish this up and then we'll start working on the tank load. Okay, I'm working on my Varney Texaco tank that came off of that my dad's tank car. And so far I've washed it. I've glued wood bases on the bottom so that it sits nicely onto the flat car. And I'm starting to put a fabricated roof, a dome, on the that was missing from the car. And so far this is just a junk piece of styrene, thin, that I took a punch that was just a little bit oversized and punched it out, trimmed it up a little bit, and have it glued as a base. And now I have a dome that has faceted facets to it, and that's going to glue there. And that came from one of those pop tops from an orange juice container. So I'm going to glue that onto there, let it dry good, and then just touch up the paint a little bit. And at some point before installing it, I'll drill a hole and put a small vent up there. And we're going to call that good. And still have an idea of what to do with the ladders that came off of the tank car. So follow along, you'll see it take place. Take care. Well, now I think you can start to see how this is going to look. Just one or two more finishing touches. As I said, I will drill a hole and put a little vent up here in the dome lid. And I'm thinking of something like this for the ladders. They are mounted on a wood base, which will be glued to the deck, and I'll slide the ladder up underneath this handrail on the tank car and glue everything in place. And I think that will look good. And yeah, that's coming together. All right, talk to you again soon. Well, I've been talking about putting some kind of vent into the cap that I put up here on the tank car, and looking at pictures, only a little nubbins of something sticks up. So I found this piece of wire that has a diameter of just under 0.06. So yeah, I think it's going to work. And when I drill holes like this into some very thin styrene, I start with a very small drill just to get the pilot hole going. And this is about a number 75 drill bit. And working my way up, this one is, let's see, about halfway in between that and the final diameter. So I will just drill that hole down. And now the final diameter. And it just makes life a lot easier than starting with the full-size drill bit. Now let's see if I can get so I'll cut this off and just let a little nubbins stick up above and touch up the black paint and move on to the next part of the project. Talk to you then. Okay, the vent pipe is now on. You see a little shininess around it. That's because the paint is still wet, but that will suffice. I also I had glued these wooden bases onto the tank. There's a nut bolt washer casting in all four corners now that'll be visible. That'll look like it's bolted down to the deck of the flat car. I used Tishy's, my finger's covering it up, number 8082, which is a 6-inch square washer with a 3-inch nut, and I use those a lot, so I usually have these in stock. So this is now ready to glue onto the deck, which I will now do. And once it is glued in place, then I'll take care of the final step, which is to put these ladder castings, or etchings, I guess they are, they're made out of brass, in place, and we'll call it a done deal. So we'll see you then. Oh, so there we have it, a fairly late vintage Athearn Blue Box New York Central flat car with a very old vintage 1950s era Varney tank on top of it, and we'll call that good at this point. You recall this was in that box of broken train cars, and was missing the cap on the top of the tank, and the car itself was all broken, but we've salvaged it and it'll ride the rails. So we'll go over to the layout, take a picture of it on the rails, and call this video good. Okay, let's bring it forward here and see what we got. In front of the tank car is my dad's box car that I just fixed. Then comes the tank, and finally Dad's cattle car at the end. And of course, that's a Varney. The tank is a Varney. And the box car is a Varney. So there we have it. Just couldn't bring myself to tossing that tank, and I'm glad that we've been able to salvage it. And I've been saving those inner lids from orange juice cans, thinking I'd be able to use them for something, and there it is, a perfect cap on the tank car. Alrighty, as always, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Talk to you again soon.